yet that I don't know enough about to accurately accurately talk about. Okay. Um. So with that, let's get started. First monster, Abyssal Lagiacrus. I'm gonna put Abyssal Lagiacrus in C tier. The reason is that Abyssal Lagiacrus is literally just fighting a large Lagiacrus underwater entirely. That's really all it is. It is nothing special. It has a lot of health, it does a lot of damage, and you are underwater the entire time. That's really all it is. There's nothing really special about him. It's just Lagiacrus. It's just Lagiacrus. Acidic Glavenus, also going to put in C. I'm putting him in C because he is not as good as regular Glavenus. Acidic Glavenus is what the Monster Hunter dev team described as the monster embodiment of a longsword. So it does a lot of like swooshing and combos and things like that. And like it kind of works, but it's more annoying than anything, which makes sense because the longsword in multiplayer is quite annoying too. Okay, Acnactor. We're gonna put him in B. He's our clappy boy. He's our clappy boy. We love our clappy boy Acnactor. Actually pretty fun to fight. The mechanic of like heating up parts of its body and then they cool down to create an armored area originated with this monster. That was a mechanic that Lavasioth had in World that they basically took from Acnactor. That being said, Acnactor did it better because it was only like some small areas, but you could still hit other areas, whereas Lavasioth, it was garbage because it could just make its entire body hard and you would not have any fun fighting it at all. Like, zero. I like Acnactor. He's very fun. Acnactor is a good monster. Otto-Ka, easy S tier. Otto-Ka is such a memorable monster because it's an Elder Dragon class monster and it's also quite small, kind of like Kirin. But its big thing is that it just takes a bunch of parts that are around it in a ruined castle area and it becomes a bug mech. It becomes a mech. It literally fights you with a Gundam. So you're fighting a bug and a Gundam at the same time. And that is really freaking cool. Easily one of the best like final bosses to come out of Generations Ultimate, Otto-Ka. A Cantor. I'm gonna put a Cantor in B. A Cantor to me is like he is basically a very large Tigrex that is slower and will yell at you and sometimes set you on fire. He has a very unique looking design, but he acts a lot like a Tigrex. Has the same skeleton as a Tigrex. He can dig around. He has a thing where he yells at you. It's so... But I don't know. He does not seem super special to me, personally. Aknasam. I'm gonna put Aknasam in B. I'm gonna put Aknasam in B. Aknasam is an early monster in Monster Hunter Rise. It's kind of cool because it's a dancing crane monster. It's a dancing fire crane, which is kind of neat. Its movements are a little funny. But overall, I think it actually had some cool stuff. Its armor set's actually very neat. Very, very neat armor set. Very, very neat armor set. Elatrion, easy S tier. Actually, I'm putting this ahead of Otto-Ka. Elatrion is a monster that was introduced in Monster Hunter Tri, I think? I think introduced in Monster Hunter Tri or introduced in Portable Third. Uh, has command over multiple elements. I have fought this monster in multiple games. I have fought it in 3 Ultimate. Technically never beat it in 3 Ultimate. I fought it in Generations Ultimate. Beat it in Generations Ultimate. And I fought it in Monster Hunter World. Alatreon in Monster Hunter World is the single best fight that Capcom has ever made. There is actually so little that is wrong with the fight. It has super clean hitboxes, lots of really wonderful feedback for playing correctly, i.e. the elemental topple. It's just it's a fight that it is one of the only fights in the entirety of Monster Hunter that I will go back and do just because it's fun. I don't need anything from Alatreon, but I will sometimes boot up Monster Hunter World and just be like, I want to fight Alatreon. That's how fun it is. Now, it's also one of the most divisive monsters because less skilled players had a lot of trouble fighting this guy because they didn't want to change their build to have element. Or they struggled a lot because they couldn't understand some things. This was Alatreon is a monster that if you're like a slightly better than average skilled player, you love it. But if you're like average or below average in terms of skill, you don't like Alatreon because it was a wall for you. That's just how it was. It was a wall for you. But I don't know. I love Alatreon. Alatreon is easily one of my favorite monsters in Monster Hunter World. Very good. Almudron. Solid B. Solid B. The Mud Boy. Every time I look at him, I think he's an old man. I think Almudron's an old man. He has giant palaces of mud. And he's okay. He's actually not a terrible fight. He's a little annoying, but he's not really bad. Actually a pretty decent addition to the Monster Hunter roster in Rise. Amatsu Maguchi, also known as Amatsu. Solid A tier. I have fought Amatsu in Generations Ultimate, and I have fought Amatsu in Monster Hunter Rise. I like the Generations Ultimate version of Amatsu much more than the Rise version. My problem with the Rise version of Amatsu is that it is a spectacle fight. Essentially all you're doing is like damage to get to certain phases where it does something and then you just avoid the thing that it does. It's not really a test of skill or anything. Like, you never really feel in danger of losing against Amatsu in Rise. Granted, you rarely feel in danger of losing to anything in Rise, but I kind of had some problems with Amatsu and Rise just because it's super scripted. It is very, very scripted to the point where it felt like no matter what I did, I was going to get to the same points every time, and it was going to behave the same way all the time. And it was just not really fun. I did not like it as much, but I put it in A because I like the older versions of Amatsu better. Ancient Leshen, F tier. Ancient Leshen is fucking garbage. Okay? The only reason you did Ancient Leshen was to get the Witcher and Ciri layered armor in Monster Hunter World, and let me fucking tell you, this motherfucker has too much health and you can't do jack shit to him 90% of the time. It's very stupid. It has a very cool theme. Like, the theme when you're fighting it is very cool. But Otherwise, it's just a shit monster to fight. It takes very long. It is not meant to be done by yourself. If you try to fight Ancient Lich by yourself, it is a 40-minute fight, no matter how good your gear is. It's really stupid. Really, really, really stupid. Anjanath. I'm putting Anjanath in S tier. I think Anjanath is probably one of the best monsters to kind of get you from being a beginner monster hunter to a mediocre monster hunter. Like, Anjanath is the first wall that you fight in Monster Hunter World, and it is a great wall because it's not, once you like get better at the game, Anjanath is super easy. But in the very beginning, when you don't know very much about Monster Hunter, he does really challenge you. It's like he's there to be like, okay, time to put everything you learned to the test. And I appreciate that monster exists. There's a lot of really neat things you can do against him too if you learn more about the game. Apex Arzuros. Okay, they have all the Apexes in here, it looks like. Apex Arzuros, I'm putting in C tier. It's literally the same as Red Helm Arzuros from Generations Ultimate. Not really anything special, honestly. Apex Diablos, I'm gonna put in B because it's basically the same as Bloodbath Diablos, but Bloodbath Diablos is cooler. Apex Misusune, I'm gonna put that in B too. It's fun, but it's literally the same as I can't remember what's the name of the deviant for MHGU deviants. What are the deviants? Soul. It's literally the same as Soul Seer Mizu. Yeah. Apex Mizu is the same as Soul Seer Mizu. Yeah. Apex Rathalos is in C because it's just Dread King, but it's Rathalos. Apex Rathian is the same as Dread Queen. Rathian, but I'm putting it in C because Rathian is really easy. I'm gonna put Apex Zinogre in B because it is basically Thunderlord Zinogre, but it is still really fun. It is actually still a fun fight. Regular Arzuros. I'm gonna put regular Arzuros in C because it is a bear monster that you fight. It is one of the first monsters that you fight in Tri, I think it's one of the first monsters you fight in Tri, or it's one of the first monsters you fight in Portable Third. That's when they started introducing bear-like monsters. Excuse me. That's when they started introducing bear-like monsters into Monster Hunter. It was pretty neat, in my opinion. Let's see. Sorry, I'm getting a little confused right now. I'm getting a little confused over some things. But like, he's nothing special. You just attack his butt, and like, he steals honey from you sometimes. Ashen Lao, F tier. It's literally just a different colored Lao Shenlong, and he's boring. And Lao Shenlong's signature attack is literally walking. That is its special attack. Special attack is just walking. Ash Ketchawacha. I'm gonna put Ash Ketchawacha in C. I have only fought Ash Ketchawacha once, and it's basically just a fire subspecies of Ketchawacha. What is this? Oh, this is actually a cool theme. This is Old Fatalis theme. Ba, 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 ba. Old Fatalis, better known as White Fatalis. Ash Ketchawacha, nothing really special about him. Astalos, easy S tier. Astalos is one of the most metal monsters in all of Monster Hunter. His theme is incredible. The Astalos theme is one of the best themes in the game. A lot of people are like, oh, but Zinogre. I'm like, no, I think Astalos is better. It's a really cool sort of dragonfly-esque looking monster that has electric powers. It also has this like super fast but super hard hitting looking attack style where it does lots of really fast slams on you. And it's such a cool monster. It's such a fun monster to fight. I was super excited when they announced him for Sunbreak because I had fought him in Generations Ultimate and it was so cool. I love Astalos. Astalos is easily one of my favorite monsters personally. Aurora Somnicanth D because it is literally just a Somnicanth that is more ice oriented and is very annoying to fight and kind of stupid. I don't like regular Somnicanth either. Azure Rathalos. The only reason Azure Rathalos is in C and not D is because Azure Rathalos armor is usually pretty good. In most of like the older Monster Hunter games, Azure Rathalos armor would have a combination of like earplugs and crit boost, or not crit boost, earplugs and crit eye. So it made the set very good. Like for the best high rank armor set you can get in 3 Ultimate is Azure Rathalos. Azure Rathalos armor is the best set of armor you can get in high rank 3U. Baleful Giganox. I'm gonna put Baleful Giganox in B. I like Baleful Giganox. It's Giganox but with paralysis, and Giganox to me is a good monster. It is a better Kezu. Giganox is just a better Kezu. I don't know why people like Kezu. Kezu is bad. I shouldn't. I'm gonna talk more about Giganox. What's cool is like the gimmick Giganox has is really cool because its head is a weak point until it enrages. Then its tail is the weak point because it almost acts like it has 2 heads. And it switches which one is the weak point based on if it's enraged or not. And that's a really neat mechanic to me. Bambaro. Bambaro is C because Bambaro is a chill dude. Bambaro is kind of a neat monster because it was like a brute wyvern that didn't eat meat. The gimmick it has of like throwing trees at you is kind of cool. I put it in C specifically because there is a mod for Bambaro that gives him sunglasses and he's smoking a joint and it's really fucking funny. So Bambaro is C for chill dude. Barioth. I'm gonna put Barioth in B. Barioth is in B because it's, depending on how you look at it, depending on what game you're playing, it's either a unique monster or it is a ice Nargacuga. It is literally like in Tri, he is essentially an ice Nargacuga. Like there's not very much of a difference between him and Nargacuga in Tri. In later games, he kind of becomes a little more of his own monster, where he moves around a lot like Nargacuga, but he does a lot more wide sweeps, whereas Nargacuga does a lot more precision attacks. But yeah, I don't know. Barioth is okay. Barioth also has a very cool armor set. Barioth's armor set is very cool. Barroth. Barroth. A lot of earlier monsters I would put like lower in D or F, but I'm gonna put Barioth. I'm gonna put Barroth in C. specifically because in some games he is actually a bit of a menace. In Tri, he's a bit of a menace. In GU, he's also a bit of a menace because he's the first monster you gotta fight in G rank. Like, you don't fight Barroth until G rank in Generations Ultimate, which is really funny to me. Bazarios, F tier. Bazarios is a bad monster because it is a giant rock and you can't get under him to hit his stomach, which is his weak point because he's too fucking small. So literally all you can really do is bomb him until there is a point where you can actually hit him. And it's stupid and I don't like it. Basil Geese, A tier. Basil is a great monster. Really fun invader. Has already Basil has already set his what is it? Why am I getting... I'm getting so distracted, chat. That's kind of the only problem that happens with some of these that happens with some of these kind of streams. Is I get distracted super easily. I get distracted easily. What am I looking at? Okay. Basil has cemented himself in Monster Hunter history as being the B-52 bomber. He's pretty unique in the sense that he like actually just has scales that explode. So he just drops them on you like he's a bomber. And he has a very memorable theme that is traumatizing to lots of Monster Hunter players. So honestly, he's A rank because he is so memorable. The Hunter monster. Hi, Redwo. I'm doing a tier list. I had an urge to do a tier list today, so we're doing a tier list of Monster Hunter monsters. There are 252 of them we're gonna do. And we just got to Behemoth. I'm gonna put Behemoth in A tier. Depending on who you ask, Behemoth should be an S tier. But the thing is Behemoth was a monster that was part of a collaboration with Final Fantasy XIV and Monster Hunter. Final Fantasy XIV, they got a trial where you fight a Rathalos, and we got a hunt where we fought Behemoth. And the fight itself is pretty cool. It plays out a lot more like an MMO fight than anything, because you have to have somebody who tanks, you gotta have somebody who heals, you gotta have people doing correct mechanics so that you don't die to things. And it is pretty fun. It's not super fun solo. I know some people have fought Extremoth, which is the harder version of Behemoth. They have fought that solo and say it's really fun. It had a really cool little gimmick actually with an emote you got. You got a Dragoon Jump emote from doing the Final Fantasy XIV collaboration quest in World, and if you time it right, you can use that jump to avoid the Ecliptic Meteor, which is pretty neat. Beatotus. I'm putting Beatotus in B. Beatotus is one of the better Piscine Wyverns. Like, I really like Beatotus as a fight. It's a great introductory monster to Iceborne. And I think it is a lot better than most Piscine Wyverns on this list, in my opinion. A better chicken. It's not a better chicken, it's a better fish. It's a better fish. Beatotus is a fish. It's an ice fish. He's actually a pretty fun fight, in my opinion. Green Tetsukabra. I have fought Green Tetsukabra exactly once, and I don't really remember much of a difference between him and regular Tetsukabra, so I'm putting him in C. Bishaten. Bishaten I'm gonna also put in C. So they stuck dragon and wyvern on to anything. Well, so okay, there is a difference between a dragon and a wyvern. A dragon has 4 legs. A wyvern usually has 2 legs and it has wing arms. Dragon is usually only reserved for elder dragons in Monster Hunter. Everything else is just a variation of a wyvern in World or in Monster Hunter. But anyway, Bishaten. Chicken, dragon, lizard, something like that, yeah. Bishaten is kind of an interesting monster. It's like a spider. It's like a funny little spider monkey that can fly and it throws fruit at you and it's silly. It's not like super amazing, but it is pretty funny. Black Diablos. I'm putting Black Diablos in D tier because Black Diablos is a very, very angry and also very, very horny Diablos, and it is very aggressive. I had to farm so much Black Diablos in World, it was ridiculous. And Black Diablos is just, it can be a real pain because it digs a lot. It digs around and like hits you from underground a lot. It's pretty annoying. Black Gravios I'm gonna put in C tier because it's more or less the same as a regular Gravios, except it uses its laser attack more. Black Gravios is much more of a laser user than regular Gravios. So it shoots you with the laser a lot. Black Veil Valhazak I'm gonna put in C tier because while it was cool that Valhazak got a subspecies, I did not like this particular subspecies of Valhazak. Basically they were like, okay, how can we make a Fluvium more annoying? And they created Black Veil Valhazak. Its introduction cutscene's actually very cool. It's very Resident Evil. Blaganga. Blaganga is in C tier because it is kind of like an ice Rajang. It's not as aggressive as a Rajang, but it's more or less just like, what if Rajang was an ice monkey? That's really it, honestly. Bloodbath Diablos. Bloodbath Diablos is A. I have only fought Bloodbath Diablos a couple times, but it is basically the same as Apex Diablos. The difference is Bloodbath Diablos has a very interesting story behind it. Essentially, what happens with a Bloodbath Diablos is a Diablos that fights a hunter, loses parts of its horn, but gets away. And the story is that its horn grows weird because it's so angry. And it has like a grudge against hunters. And that's why it's called Bloodbath Diablos. EX Bloodbath Diablos has an iconic move. The iconic move that it has is it will do a roar, and if you do not have earplugs or you do not roll the roar, you will die. Because while you're stunned, he will charge you. It bathed in the blood of hunters? Kind of, something like that. Hi, North Prince, how you doing? Hello, we're doing a tier list today. If we have time, we'll play some for you after, but it kind of depends. There's a lot of monsters we got to go through on this. Blood Orange Bishaten. I'm gonna put Blood Orange Bishaten in C, but I'm gonna put it above of Bishaten because more or less, Blood Orange Bishaten, you replace fruit with exploding pine cones, and that's actually kind of cool, in my opinion. So it was a neat little twist on Bishaten, in my opinion. Blue Kutku, I'm putting in D because it is literally Kutku, but blue. There's no difference. Absolutely no difference. Literally no difference between blue Kutku and regular Kutku. Bolt Reaver Astalos. I have not fought Bolt Reaver Astalos. I have heard Bolt Reaver Astalos is very hard. I've heard Bolt Reaver Astalos is very interesting. It's very crazy. But I have not fought him personally, so I am not 100% sure yet. Brachydios. Brachydios is going into B tier. Iconic monster. Usually is associated with punching, which is what he does. He has a symbiotic relationship with exploding slime, so he can he will punch you with his pounder and then put slime on you, and that slime will explode. I have fought Brachydios in 3 Ultimate, which was the game he premiered in. I have fought him in 4 Ultimate. I have fought him in Generations Ultimate. And I have fought him in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. He's always been a monster I've had a little bit of trouble with. Because I try not to get... I try very hard not to get slimed, but it's kind of hard not to. Unless you have blast resistance on. But he is overall a pretty good fight. He's actually a pretty fun fight, and he's very memorable to a lot of people. Brute Tigrex. I am putting Brute Tigrex in B. Brute Tigrex is a subspecies of Tigrex. And the major difference between a Brute Tigrex and a regular Tigrex is Brute Tigrex is a monster where its bark is worse than its bite. That's kind of the best way to say it. Is Tigrex is a monster that charges you and bites you and stuff. Brute Tigrex just yells at you. And it yells so loud that it damages you. Like, that is essentially what a Brute Tigrex is. It yells at you all the time. It fights you with sound instead of fighting you with brute power, which is funny because it's called Brute Tigrex. Bulldrome. I'm putting Bulldrome in D. Actually, I'm going to put Bulldrome in C because Bulldrome is an annoying piece of shit, but he's also very memorable because he is an annoying piece of shit. He literally only has one move where he just charges you. That's all he does. No, he has 2 moves. He has a move where he charges you, and then he just flails. He's nothing really super special, but he also is one of the most annoying monsters because you're like, go away, I'm trying to heal. And he charges you. Sorry, I have to drink a little more when I'm doing this much talking. Sideus. Sideus is an Elder Dragon that premiered in Monster Hunter Tri. And it has probably one of the coolest themes because its theme is not like usual like super mega hype things. It's actually just a very beautiful song. The Sideus theme is actually just a very, very beautiful song when you're fighting it. He's a funny looking guy. He is a underwater only monster. It's essentially like fighting a whale. He's very cool. When you're fighting him in Tri, you have to get a specific mask for your buddy Kayumba. Or not Kayumba, Cha-Cha. You have to get a mask for your buddy Cha-Cha, and essentially what the mask does is the mask will make air bubbles so you can stay underwater longer because you can't really go for air in the fight because there is nowhere to get air. Besides Sadeas having a really nice theme, some people might argue that he's a lot like Lao Shanlung because he just moves forward. But he moves forward to an area, and then when you get to the area, you actually fight him. And that's fine with me. He's pretty cool. I like Sadeas. That's why I put him in A. He's actually pretty neat. Cephadrome. I hate you, Cephadrome. Cephadrome is annoying. When he's enraged, he looks like he's on crack. He has this weird thing where he will literally fly out of the sand at you and paralyze you, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then he spins a lot. Cephadrome to me is very annoying. He is a Piscine Wyvern. Not really that great of a Piscine Wyvern, but he's one of the first Piscine Wyverns you ever fight in all of Monster Hunter. He's a sandfish. Chameleos. I'm putting Chameleos in B. I would normally like to put Chameleos in A, but the only reason I'm putting him in B is because he has a couple things that are a little weird about him. I think the Chameleos is a funny Elder Dragon because essentially his gimmick is poison, but the other gimmick he has is he turns invisible like a chameleon because he like blends in with his surroundings. He also has very funny movement. His theme is banger. I love the Chameleos theme. It's a banger theme. Very cool. I think I have fought him in Generations Ultimate and I have fought him in Rise. And he was pretty good. He's pretty good. I like his Rise version a lot more. He can steal stuff too. That is true. He can steal stuff. Hello, Condor. How you doing? He can steal stuff. He was much more annoying in GU because he actually stole your items. In Rise, he would just steal like some essence that you could eventually get back. And while I would normally like to put Chameleos in A, I'm going to put him in B just because he does have some decently glaring problems. Chaotic Gore Magala. I'm gonna put a Chaotic Gore in B. Honestly, some people might think it's a hot take, but I don't really like Chaotic Gore Magala in comparison to regular Gore and Shigaru. You like my tier list? Very much respect. Thank you. Thank you for following, Condor. I appreciate it. Welcome. I don't exactly like Chaotic Gore Magala. Like, the concept of Chaotic Gore Magala is cool, but it's not as fun of a fight as some people would think. It's very, I mean, for lack of a better word, it's a chaotic fight, which makes sense. Congalala. I'm putting Congalala in B because I like my fart monkey. I like my fart monkey. He's special. Some of the best looking weapons in the series. Oh, that is true. That's why he's in B and not C, because he has best looking weapon. Oh, I got booped. Hi, Gabriel. How you doing? That is true. He does have some of the best looking weapons in the series. Very true. And very cool armor. I put Congalala in B because I like my fart monkey. Okay? This is my tier list. I'm allowed to put my fart monkey in B if I want to. Okay? Ah! Everybody throwing shit at me. I missed you too, Gabriel. I hope you're doing good. I'm actually very happy that Congalala is coming back into Wilds. I think it's going to be very fun to fight Congalala. And I'm kind of hoping that he has a little bit more of a glow up than like Gypceros did, because Gypceros didn't really have a glow up in Wilds from what I saw. Copper Blaganga. I'm gonna put Copper Blaganga in D because from what I understand, I technically haven't fought him, but I've watched people fight him. And Copper Blaganga to me just seems like a regular Blaganga, but in the sand. That's really it. It's just a regular Blaganga in the sand. It has very good weapons. Technically in Freedom Unite, the Copper Blaganga longsword is the best longsword, from what I understand. It's like one of the best longswords in the game. God, I'm doing so much talking and I can feel it in my throat. He has like a huge rock attack. That's what's super different. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's really that huge a deal. When I think a huge rock attack, I think of like the earlier versions of Rajang. Like the GU version of Rajang, where he just picks up a whole chunk of earth and chucks it at you. Coral Pookie Pookie, I'm putting an A. I think Coral Pookie Pookie is one of the best subspecies that Capcom has ever made, because Coral Pookie Pookie is basically a Pookie Pookie, but they adjusted it to water, and it works very well. Other people lovingly call this monster the bidet monster, because it kind of is a bidet monster. Coral Pookie Pookie is very fun to fight. It had a very different move set from regular Pookie Pookie. And I think because of that, it made the fight much more enjoyable, in my opinion. Crimson Fatalis. I don't know if I should put it in haven't fought yet or if I should put it in B. And the only reason I say that is because I kind of fought Crimson Fatalis, but it was a mod for Monster Hunter World. I fought Crimson Fatalis as a Monster Hunter World mod. And like, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It's like, it is a very, very fire-oriented Fatalis. You fight him normally in a volcano. It's kind of cool. He has some attacks that put blast on you, if I remember correctly. And I don't know, it's kind of cool. He's like kind of different from regular Fatalis, but I don't think he's different enough to be interesting. Valstrax. I'm giving Valstrax his own special tier, because I like Valstrax, but the monsters here above Valstrax, I like them more than Valstrax. But I think he is too good to be put in A. He's not good enough for S, but he's too good for A. That's how I feel. Valstrax has his own special tier, in my opinion. Valstrax is a super unique monster. Wait, are we in V? Oh, wait. Oh, that's because this is Crimson Glow Valstrax. That's why. That's why it's here. It's because it's Crimson Glow. Okay, Crimson Glow Valstrax can go to B, because that's basically the Rise version of Valstrax, but it's not as good as Valstrax from Generations Ultimate. I'm going to get regular Valstrax real quick. Okay, I'm gonna get this is regular Valstrax. Regular Valstrax in Generations Ultimate is actually a very cool fight. That's why he gets put there. That's so crazy. GU Valstrax is good. Crimson Valstrax is kind of whatever, in my opinion. He's a B tier. I really like regular Valstrax, so that's why that Valstrax gets his own special tier of Valstrax, where he's below S tier, but he's above A tier. It's because Rise is kind of whatever. Yeah, very much so. Why am I blanking on the name of this monster? Crimson Kurapeko. Crimson Kurapeko goes in B tier because the major difference between Crimson Kurapeko and regular Kurapeko is Crimson Kurapeko, when he does his little clap thing at you, it explodes. That's kind of cool. The other thing is Crimson Kurapeko, when you first fight him in 3 Ultimate, actually summons Deviljho to fight you, and that's really funny. Because you're like, I'm just fighting this little funny bird monster, and then suddenly Deviljho comes in, and you're like, holy shit. It's very funny. I believe this is Crystalbeard Uragaan, and I have not fought Crystalbeard. I don't really know much about Crystalbeard, so I can't say much about Crystalbeard. Duran Moran? I'm gonna put Duran Moran in B because Duran Moran is a memorable monster. I've only fought him like once or twice in 4 Ultimate. But he's an interesting monster. It's like a Gen Moran, but cooler, in my opinion. Daimyo Hermitaur. I think normally people would put Daimyo Hermitaur in C, but I'm putting Daimyo Hermitaur in B. Specifically because I actually really like fighting Daimyo Hermitaur in Rise. Daimyo Hermitaur in Rise is very fun. I actually really like how fun he is to fight in Rise. A monster that's been around for a very long time. It was cool when they brought him back for Sunbreak. Actually, in Sunbreak has one of the best armors for Gunlance early on, which is kind of cool. This is Dalamadur. I technically haven't fought Dalamadur. I have never fought Dalamadur. I have never gotten to a point where I could fight Dalamadur yet. I believe Dalamadur is a very spectacle fight. But it is kind of cool. He's like a giant snake. Fun fact, Rotten Vale is actually a rotting carcass of a Dalamadur. And that kind of ties into this whole theme of Elder Dragons doing the Elder Crossing to die and then become new land. And another thing that kind of talks about that concept and world is the Guiding Lands, because the Guiding Lands is actually a dead Zorah Magdaros. Okay. Deadeye Yangaruga. I have not fought Deadeye. Or not. Is this Deadeye? Yeah, it's Deadeye. I have not fought Deadeye Yangaruga. So I can't say much about it. I like Yangaruga though. Yangaruga's kind of cool. I like the new I like new Yangaruga. I like World Yangaruga. World Yangaruga is kind of cool. I'm gonna put Desert Celtis in D, but I'm gonna put Desert Celtis Queen in B. It's a very awkward thing for grading Desert Celtis and Desert Celtis Queen, because Desert Celtis Queen is its own monster plus Desert Celtis, and Desert Celtis is just Desert Celtis. But I think the two monsters combined are very cool. Um, it's a neat concept that I kind of hope maybe we get more of that in the future, or we get more of like symbiotic relationships between monsters. Deviljho. I'm putting Deviljho in B. I like Deviljho. He can be kind of annoying at times. World Deviljho is kind of weird. World Deviljho is just kind of like a meat stick, or well, he's not a meat stick. World Deviljho is like a meat bag. You keep hitting him, and then he hits you, and it's not as fun of a fight. Savage Deviljho is actually a lot more fun because Savage Deviljho rewards you for being aggressive. Regular Deviljho just doesn't really reward you for being aggressive. It doesn't really matter against him. Diablos. I'm putting Diablos in B. Diablos is a classic boy. I think Diablos first shows up in Freedom? Or in 2? Or in Dos? I don't know. I don't fully remember where he shows up first. I think, what I find very cool about, Diablos is, I like fighting older Diablos because there is a thing that older Diablos does that makes it very clear to know when he's enraged. And that is he kind of like starts spewing black smoke out of his mouth. He doesn't do that in the newer games. In the newer games, he doesn't spew that like black smoke out. But overall, I think Diablos is kind of a neat monster. Dire Morales. I have not fought Dire Morales. I can't really say anything about Dire Morales. He no longer has stage 4. Yeah. I don't really know much about Dire Morales. I can't say much about him. All I know is that he's basically just a Fatalis in the water. Dodogama. Hot take. I'm putting Dodogama in D. The only reason Dodogama is not an F is because Dodogama is cute. Dodogama otherwise is a very basic monster. A pretty good armor set for Blast and for Gun Lances and Charge Blade. But otherwise he's just a regular dude who people think is very cute. Dread King. I technically haven't fought Dread King, but I'm gonna say I did because I fought Apex Rathalos. Apex Rathalos is basically the same as Dread King, so I'm gonna put it in C there. Dread Queen I'm gonna put in C too because Apex Rathian is basically the same as Dread Queen Rathian. They are literally the same. I have not fought Drill Tusk Texucabra, so I don't really know what to say about that. Duramboros. I'm putting Duramboros in B. Duramboros is actually a pretty neat monster. He's a brute wyvern, but he has this unique thing where he utilizes his tail to spin a lot and is more or less utilizing physics to do damage. If you can like get under him while he's spinning, you can knock him over, which is really neat. So I think in terms of like fight design, he's actually very neat. Hopefully, maybe we'll see Duramboros again at some point. Ebony Odogaron. Ebony Odogaron is S tier. I love Ebony Odogaron. Ebony Odogaron is just Odogaron, but better. Essentially, you get a special knockdown if you're using element and you hit him enough. It also has a very cool armor set. It has probably one of the most metal intro cutscenes ever, because literally Ebony Odogaron just comes out it fights a regular Odogaron and just murders it really hard and like tosses it aside, and then you fight it. I really like Ebony Odogaron. Elder Frost Gammoth. I have not fought Elder Frost Gammoth, so I don't really know. Emerald Congalala. I technically have not fought Emerald Congalala besides in like Monster Hunter stories, and I don't really think there's much of a difference between Emerald Congalala and Congalala. I'm gonna put it in the have not fought yet. Espinos. Espinos goes in A tier. I like regular Espinos. Regular Espinos is very cool. Wait, what's the Espinos variant called? Oh, I remember what it's called now. Okay, hang on, I remember what it's called. Regular Espinos is cool is because it has this neat mechanic where the fireballs it shoots out does triple status. So if you get hit with a fireball, you'll get paralyzed, poisoned, and burned all at the same time. It is one of the first. It's the second monster to come out of Frontier. Or no, is it the second or is it the third? Is Hypnoc a Frontier monster or a Freedom monster? I don't remember. Anyway, it's one of the few Frontier monsters to make it into the mainline games. Fatalis. I'm putting Fatalis in B. I'm gonna put him ahead of Crimson though. It really depends on which game you're fighting him in as to what his rank is. They gave Fatalis a really big glow up in World. In World, his fight was very cool, very hard. In older games, he just kind of walks. He kind of walks and he like does basic attacks. He wasn't anything very special. Like his big thing was just slithering around, but in World he had a lot of really neat moves. I think, I mean, overall, like, Fatalis has a big history in Monster Hunter, but the only reason he's in B is because the other Fatalis is better. White Fatalis is better than regular Fatalis. Flaming Espinos. I don't really like Flaming Espinos. Flaming Espinos is just Espinos with more fire and less poison and stun, or less poison and paralysis, and he just does a big fire attack. That's really it. I like regular Espinos more than Flaming Espinos personally. Frostfang Barioth. Frostfang Barioth. Where would I put Frostfang Barioth? I don't know where I would put Frostfang Barioth. Because I like Frostfang Barioth. I do. It's just, there's some aspects of Frostfang Barioth that annoy the fuck out of me. Like, Frostfang Barioth is very hard to fight if you're Lance, because one of the moves that Frostfang Barioth does will take you out of guarding stance and you can't guard it, and then you just kind of get fucked. I'm gonna put him in B. I like Frostfang, but I don't like him enough to put him in A. Fulgur Anjanath is easy S tier. Like Anjanath, Fulgur Anjanath is a monster that kind of tests you. In World, regular Anjanath kind of tests your basic ability of like positioning and utilizing the environment around you to be a good hunter. Fulgur Anjanath basically tests you on how to use Clutch Claw. He's very cool, very fun to fight. He's much more erratic than regular Anjanath. But like I have a blast whenever I fight Fulgur Anjanath. Furious Rajang. I'm gonna put Furious Rajang in B. Furious Rajang is a neat monster. The only problem is that Furious Rajang is different depending on which game you're fighting him in. Because in older games, Furious Rajang is just a almost permanently enraged Rajang. But they made a specific change in World to Furious Rajang where he had no tail anymore. So instead of hitting him in his tail to take his enrage away, you hit him in his head. So it's a little weird because the monster has sort of drastically changed from other games. He wasn't as bad as regular Rajang in World. Regular Rajang in World, I have like some beef with him because he's just odd to fight sometimes because he's much smaller than Rajang normally is in the games. But Furious was fine. Furious is like a perfectly okay monster. Gasmagorm. I kind of want to put Gasmagorm in A because he's actually really, really cool. But it is so annoying to fight him multiple times, so I'm going to put him in B. Gasmagorm is a monster that when you fight him for the first time, it is the coolest shit ever. Once you fight him for the fourth time, you're kind of done with him. You're kind of just you're over his gimmick. Basically, Gasmagorm comes out and is like he's like Satan. It's like fighting Satan. Very big, very flashy, big explosions, scary red crystal thingies. It's very fun the first time you fight him. Once you are trying to like farm him for weapons and armor and stuff, he is very annoying to fight, to say the least. That's really all I gotta say about him. Gammoth. Gammoth is D tier. There's a lot of people that like Gammoth. My problem with Gammoth is that his signature attack is walking. Like Lao Shanlung, his signature attack is walking. He is not very hard to fight. Really not very hard to fight at all. He's the only reason he's D and not F is because he actually has a pretty cool theme. It's a pretty well-fitting theme for Gammoth, in my opinion. I'm putting Garen Golem in A. Garen Golem is a very fun monster. He has this cool thing where he gets both water and fire affinity when he does stuff with his arms. And he has a Frankenstein motif to him. He's very cool. He's actually very fun to fight. He has a very cool super move that most of the time people don't see if they're remotely good at the game. But it is very cool. It is a very cool thing. Gendrome. Gendrome is C. Only reason Gendrome is C is because it has a good sword and shield. Gendrome has a good sword and shield. The Death Prize sword and shield, paralysis sword and shield, very strong. One of the strongest weapons you can get in DOS. Yeah. Geoprey is F because it is literally just white Geoprey is literally just white Velocidrome. There's no difference. There's literally no difference between him and Velocidrome. So he's just kind of whatever. Giganox A tier. I love Giganox. Giganox is one of my favorite monsters. He's so much cooler than much cooler than Kezu. Kezu fucking sucks. All right. Kezu is terrible. But Giganox is very cool. It has the same sort of thing as Baleful Giganox, where if it enrages, the other side of its body is softened in the weak spot as opposed to its normal head. Does a lot of poison stuff. It lays little eggs, which is kind of cool. And like the little things that come out try to eat you, and that's kind of neat too. Yeah, Giganox. I actually was really hoping Giganox was going to be in Wilds, because I think Giganox would be a better addition than Kezu. Glacial Eknactor. I like fought him once, and it's kind of just an ice Eknactor. He's kind of just an ice Eknactor. There's not really anything different about him compared to Eknactor. He's just ice. That's really it. Glavenus is S tier. Glavenus is S tier for me. Regular Glavenus is one of the most fun fights I've ever done in Generations Ultimate. He is super fun in World, but Generations Ultimate, where the debut game for Glavenus was Generations, but he was really fun in Generations Ultimate when you could have Valor Style. You could have Valor Longsword. And Valor Longsword had this thing where when you were in Valor stance, if you hit the button for Spirit Slash at the right time, you do a counter. And it was super satisfying to constantly counter him. It was a very fun time. Glavenus is the monster embodiment of a greatsword, and is just so cool. I love Glavenus. Gobel. I'm putting Gobel in B because Gobel's a funny little guy. Gobel's a funny little guy. You fight him primarily in the water, but he's basically an anglerfish, and he's kind of funny. He has a flash mechanic from his little bulb head thingy. Nothing very interesting outside of that other than looking like an anglerfish. Gogmazios. I have not fought Gogmazios. I really want to fight Gogmazios, but I have not fought him. I think he's very cool. His concept is very cool. He's a tar dragon. Goldbeard Sedeus. Goldbeard Sedeus I'm gonna put in B because it's more or less Sedeus, but different color. And I like regular Sedeus' color more. So he flashes you. Yeah, that's what Gobel does. He flashes you. Goldrathian. I'm going to put Goldrathian in A tier. Goldrathian has been in very many games. Goldrathian in World was a tough fight, but very fun. Goldrathian in Rise was very fun. Goldrathian in GU was not very fun. Like, Goldrathian became a really fun fight when you got to World. And that's where I like it the most. Gormagala is A tier. I really like Gormagala. Very fun. Very memorable monster. Only reason he's not an S is because when I recently fought him in 4U, he would spam the same move 1,000 times, so I didn't like him that much. But otherwise, he's very cool. Goss Harag is A tier as well. Goss Harag is actually a very well-designed monster. very unique, has this cool mechanic where he basically creates like ice blades on his arms and then he hits you with them. He has this very cool, unique animation that happens if he stuns you with the ice blades out. He'll walk towards you slowly, like dragging one of his ice blade arms like he's some murderer. Like he's some axe slasher murderer. And it is really cool. So I really like Goshorog. Gravios. I'm putting Gravios in C because Gravios is better than Bizarrios. You can actually hit Gravios. You can't really hit Bizarrios. Bizarrios is stupid, but Gravios is kind of the same as Bizarrios, just bigger and shoots a laser, but you can actually hit him in the stomach, so that's fine. Great Baggy is in C. Great Baggy has a interesting armor set. Great Baggy's whole thing is just like putting you to sleep in the cold. That's kind of whatever. There's nothing really super special about him other than that. It's just Great Baggy. Great Gyros I'm putting in C because as much as I like the design of Great Gyros, it is also one of the most forgettable monsters. Most people will not remember what Great Gyros is because you never have to fight him. Yeah. Okay, chat. I'm going to go get another drink because I desperately need one if I'm going to keep talking like this. All right, so I will be right back. I am back. Hello. I need throat lubrication, i.e. drink. I'm so excited for Wilds, chat. You have no idea. Wilds is soon, chat. Wilds is soon. Soon. Okay. Great Izuchi. Probably an unpopular opinion, but I'm putting Great Izuchi in B. Because Great Izuchi is a monster that is actually kind of unique because a lot of these kind of like great monster and or drone monsters are monsters that are like the alphas of a pack. And what's unique about Great Izuchi is that the little Izuchis that are with it will actually do like combo attacks with it. It's not like they're just surrounding you and attacking you, whatever. They actually have like unique combo attacks that they do together. Like, if the Great Izuchi does like a tail slam on you, then the other Izuchis follow up with a similar tail slam on you, kind of making it like a 3-pronged attack. So it's actually very cool in that regard. Great Jaggy, I'm putting in C, mostly because Great Jaggy is a meme. Great Jaggy always has a pretty good armor set, but again, Great Jaggy is a meme. Great Jagras, I'm putting in B. Great Jagras is in B because it is actually a very memorable monster to fight. Great Jagras is your introduction to Monster Hunter World. You see him at first and think he's just some big lizard, and then suddenly you see him eat an entire other monster and becomes big boy. Plus, they have the quest called The Greatest Jagras, and that is a funny-ass quest. Great Macau is also going in B, because he is actually a very fun monster to fight as an early monster in Generations Ultimate. He's kind of unique. He uses his tail as like a spring and kicks you, and it's very fun, in my opinion. Very, very fun. Great Roggy is... Honestly, Great Roggy's probably D tier. He's just a poison toad boy. That's really all he is. He's just a poison toad boy. There's really nothing special about him. I'm putting Green Nargacuga in C because it's just kind of like a regular Nargacuga if regular Nargacuga had like more balls to fight you. And I'm kind of whatever about it. I have not fought Green Plesioth, so I can't really say anything about that. Grimclaw Tigrex. I have not fought Grimclaw Tigrex. Gypceros? I'm putting Gypceros in D because I fucking hate him. He's a fucking flashy piece of shit that plays dead and then he steals your stuff. He is an asshole. Let's see. This is Hollow Genmoran. I have not fought Hollow Genmoran. Hellfire Glavenus. I'm putting Hellfire Glavenus in A tier. Mostly because Hellfire Glavenus is very cool, but a lot of people don't get to fight Hellfire Glavenus. Damn. Bro got obliterated. Bro literally got obliterated by Starybot. Get fucked, nerd. Get fucked, turbo nerd. Okay. Who's next? Hypnoc. I'm putting Hypnoc in B. Hypnoc's kind of cool. He's like a bird wyvern, but he has this thing where he spits on you and you fall asleep. And he has like a little bit more unique moves than other bird wyverns. Like he has a thing where he like zigzags to get you, which is kind of neat. And I just think Hypnoc looks cool. Iodrome. Iodrome is in D tier because he is a boring, random, nobody monster. Ivory Lagiacrys. Ivory Lagiacrys goes in A tier. Ivory Lagiacrys is basically a... Ivory Lagiacrys is more or less a regular Lagiacrys, except more land-oriented. It fights more on land than it does regular Lagiacrys. And he's pretty cool. He's actually the last monster you fight in the village for 3 Ultimate. Okay, Jade Barroth I'm putting in B. Because Jade Barroth is actually different enough from regular Barroth, in my opinion. Jade Barroth is basically a snow version of Barroth, but he utilizes the snow much better than you would think. Jen Moran is C because he's actually very boring. You more or less just use a ship to fight him. And he's a big guy. I don't know. He's kind of boring in my opinion. Gyarados is F tier to me. I hate Gyarados. Gyarados is a boring fucking monster. He is literally just a mudfish. There's nothing special about him. The only difference between a Gyarados and a Lavasioth is Gyarados is in the mud. Otherwise, there's no difference. Kechawacha, I'm putting in B. I like Kechawacha. He's a funny little guy. He has a thing where he'll put on a mask, and that's when he's enraged at you. Otherwise, he has like a long snout, and he just like laughs at you. Oh, hey chat, we're at the monster that I hate the most. You want to know how much I hate this monster? I hate this monster so much, it's getting its own shit tier. Kezu tier. Yeah, fuck Kezu. I hate him. Kezu is a bad monster. He was funny when he was in the first Monster Hunter and didn't have a BGM when you fought him and looked like a fucking penis. Every time after that, he's basically useless. Like he's just big, he looks weird, he just surrounds himself in lightning, and it's really stupid. I don't like him at all. King Shakalaka, I have not followed King Shakalaka. Kieran? I'm putting Kieran in C. Kieran is a cool Elder Dragon, but also he's not really that special. He is like the least powerful Elder Dragon. Like Kieran is basically the least powerful Elder Dragon. He's like baby's first Elder Dragon. Kuliaku goes in C because Kuliaku is a basic monster, but he's also very funny. They don't have Crystal Kuliaku on here, which is funny, because Crystal Kuliaku is a Kuliaku that gets a hold of a crystal from Final Fantasy XIV and then keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's really funny. Cool Teroth is A tier. One of the first kind of siege monsters that Monster Hunter has done, where like an entire 16-player lobby basically fights it. Not at the same time, it's kind of like they work together in multiple quests to kind of wear him down or whatever. Very cool monster, very neat weapons, very cool fight design. It was very much like a raid boss. Kushala, I'm putting in D because Kushala is actually pretty fun in other games, just not in World. In World, Kushala sucks. Kushala is not fun in Monster Hunter World, but in like almost every other game he's in, he's actually fine. Legiacris. We're gonna put Legiacris in A. Legiacris is a cool monster. I like him. He's big, he's blue. He's like a Loch Ness monster almost. I really like him. I hope secretly he's actually in Wilds and they just haven't shown it yet. Lagombi, D tier. He's just a bunny that has big snowballs. That's really it. And he slides around. He's kind of annoying. Not really useful. Lao Shenlong, F tier. Signature move, walking. Very stupid. Not really a fun monster to fight. Lavasioth, F tier, because it has... Lavasioth is actually only bad in Monster Hunter World. In the other games Lavasioth is in, he's actually not bad. It's just in World he is terrible. Legiana, B tier. Legiana is a very neat monster and has a very cool armor set. It has one of the best looking sword and shields I've ever seen. Honestly, I think Legiana was a very good addition to Monster Hunter. regular Leshen. I'm gonna put regular Leshen in D tier. Mostly because regular Leshen's actually not terrible to fight. It's like, it's still annoying, but it's not as bad as Ancient Leshen. Ancient Leshen's fucking stupid. Lucent Nargacuga. Lucent Nargacuga goes in A. Lucent Nargacuga is different enough from Nargacuga that it is better to put him in A tier. Basically, you fight Lucent Nargacuga in the Forlorn Arena. It utilizes the shine of the moon and its skin to become invisible. It has a poison attack. And it is a very pretty, it's a very cool, Nargacuga. Lunagoron is A tier. Honestly, really cool werewolf motif that he basically covers himself in some like ice stuff, and then he stands up on his two hind legs like a werewolf. I would love to see Lunagoron again. Actually, a very fun monster to fight. Very cool looking weapons too. Lunastra. I'm putting Lunastra in B. I put Lunastra in B because Lunastra is a monster that, while I hate it so much, and it is a pain in the ass to fight, it is actually unique enough from a Teostra. Lunastra in previous games was actually not unique enough from a Teostra. It was like Lunastra in previous games was like baby Teostra. But when Lunastra came into World, like, it became super cool. It became like super powered. Magma Almudron I'm putting in C because Magma Almudron is just annoying to fight. He's smaller than regular Almudron and does a lot more explosions. And he's kind of annoying. Magnamalo I'm putting in A tier. Magnamalo is another like super angry monster that I would actually love to watch it fight Nergigante, but I don't think it'll ever happen. Demo Magnamalo for Monster Hunter Rise was actually a super fun fight. I'm happy that I got to fight it. It was very neat. Malfestio. Malfestio is B tier. I would like to put it in A tier, but I know a lot of people actually don't like Malfestio. They don't like that Malfestio is the only monster that has a specific ailment to it called confusion. And basically what it does is that it makes it so that your controls are reversed. I like Malfestio because it's like the only owl monster. But a lot of people didn't like the confusion. Personally, they did not like the confusion, which I thought was kind of dumb, but I like the confusion thing. Malzeno's A tier. Malzeno is very cool because Malzeno is actually kind of similar to Velkhana in a sense, because it's like, how do I say this? Most people look at Velkhana and they think it's like a girl monster that fights with like a rapier, kind of like Weiss from Ruby. Malzeno is like almost a male version of Velkhana, where like it's a little more brutish, but it does have the same finesse. It also does the big suck on you. It also does big suck. Mizu is S tier. I like Mizu. Mizu's very fun. I like the bubble mechanic. I like the fact that the armor set makes it so you can utilize the bubble mechanic. Very pretty monster, Bubble Fox. We like Mizu. I have only fought Mag or Molten Tigrex once. I'll put it in A because I like Molten Tigrex. Molten Tigrex basically is like, what if you take Tigrex and you make it do explosions? And that's Molten Tigrex. Molten Tigrex is Explosion Tigrex. Monoblos, I'm gonna put in C. I like Monoblos. It's technically a bit different from a Diablos, but it's not very different. Najarala, I'm gonna put in C. Najarala is cool. One of the very few snake monsters that we have. But he's just kind of a snake monster. Nakarkos is A tier. I love Nakarkos. Nakarkos is an elder dragon that's basically a cuttlefish, and it has these tentacles that it puts bones on, and then it uses like abilities from the bones of the monster that it has. Nakarkos also has a very cool theme. The cool thing about the Nakarkos theme is if you listen to it, it sounds very Final Fantasy. The Nakarkos theme is very Final Fantasy. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Monster Hunter Generations. Let's see. Let's cross. Okay, yeah, this is the Nakarkos theme. Nakarkos is kind of a tentacle monster almost. But yeah, you can kind of, if you listen to it, it sounds like a Final Fantasy theme. What happened to that dude? He was a spammer. He was one of those like buy viewers here type guys. So he got insta banned by Seribot. But then the Nakarkos theme is very cool because it's very Final Fantasy. Like if you, as you're listening to this, you'll be like, if you think about a Final Fantasy fight and you put this music to it, you're like, wow, that really fits. Namiel. I'm putting Namiel in A just because Namiel has a really great design. The Namiel fight is kind of ass, but the design of the monster, like the visual design of the monster and the armor, is very good. A lot of people really like the inclusion of Namiel. Nargacuga. Nargacuga is A tier. I love Nargacuga. He's a funny guy. It's basically Batman Panther. It's like fighting Batman. Ass is good though. Well, okay. Yeah, okay, never mind. Narwa the Allmother. Narwa the Allmother gets an A because Narwa the Allmother is actually a fun fight compared to regular Narwa. Essentially, Narwa the Allmother takes the essence of Ibushi and becomes this sort of wind and thunder monster combined, and has a very cool theme. Nergigante S tier. Nergigante is one of my favorite monsters. Hi Code, how are you? I'm doing a tier list of Monster Hunter monsters right now. We just did Nergigante. Regular Nergigante is my favorite. I love regular Nergigante a lot. Very memorable. Arch-tempered Nergigante was the first arch-tempered monster I ever fought without a Palico companion, so it was just me and him fighting against each other. Do you have questions with the rules? With the chat rules? I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. What? What is my exact definition of political? I just don't want to talk about any politics. That's really it. I don't care. I really don't care. But I really like Nergigante. Nergigante is actually one of my favorite monsters. Nursilla is going to B tier. Nursilla is going to B tier because it is a unique monster, but it's not an exceptionally difficult monster. I'm actually very excited Nursilla is going to be in Wilds. I think it's going to be very cool. Nibblesnarf. Oh wait, hang on. Nibblesnarf. I don't know why I put Nibblesnarf in A tier. Nibblesnarf is B tier. I feel like you don't need to really know my definition of politics. I honestly feel like it's very self-explanatory. Like, I don't really care about the shit going on in the news, okay? I have my opinions, and my opinions are just what they are. And I don't need to, like, have discussions about them because I don't need to, okay? I don't really think we need to talk about. I don't really think we need to talk about. We're here to talk about video games. That's what this channel's about. This channel is about talking about and enjoying video games together. I never fought Nightcloak Malfestio, so I don't know. Nightshade Palomu is F tier because I fucking hate it. It just makes you go to sleep all the time. It is literally the resident sleeper monster. I hate it. Odogaron is S tier. Odogaron is my boy. I love my big red dog. I love my big red dog Odogaron. I wish he would be in Wilds. Let me see. A large streamer asked what weapon they should main in Monster Hunter Wilds, and I said Greatsword. Because Greatsword is actually the best. Greatsword in Wilds is actually like the best weapon. What if they made Wilds I don't remember what I was talking about last. Oh, Odogaron. Odogaron, I love Odogaron. That's why he's S tier. Odogaron was such a great addition to Monster Hunter. I have not fought Orochi Kirin. I know it's basically Orochi Kirin is basically an Ice Kirin that evolved to adapt to fight against a Rajang. Because Rajang do feed on Kirin. Palomu is C tier. It's just a fluffy bat. It looks cute, but it's very annoying to fight. He's not really anything special. What's wrong with Kezu? Kezu is a fucking terrible monster. I hate Kezu. Kezu has too much health. It looks really weird. It constantly surrounds itself with electricity that makes it hard to attack it at times. And he's just not fun. Kezu's just not fun. He's not fun to fight. Pink Rathian I'm gonna put in B because Pink Rathian's actually different enough from a regular Rathian, and it's fun to fight. The new monster, Kezu? Kezu's not a new monster. Kezu's been in Monster Hunter since Monster Hunter 1. Plesioth, I'm putting in B. The whip chicken? What? I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, I like Plesioth. Plesioth is pretty neat. But like, Kezu is this monster that doesn't have eyes, looks like a penis, and when you fight it, it doesn't have a BGM. It's very weird. Plesioth is cool. It's a giant fish, but it's infamous for its hip check ability because the hip check has a giant hitbox. I have never fought a Plum Hermitaur. Pookie Pookie is C tier. Was a neat monster to see at first. Looks like a penis. He should be S tier. No! He's not! He's stupid. It's fucking dumb. It's stupid. I hate him. I hate Kezu. Kezu is a bad monster. So dumb. I don't know why anyone would think Kezu is a good monster. It's bad. Purple Gypceros is just a Gypceros that does a little more poison, so he's not really anything super special. I'll put him in like D tier. But let's see. I'm gonna put Purple Ludroth in B because Purple Ludroth is a Ludroth, but it has poison instead of water. It's actually pretty fun to fight. Pyre Ragna Kadaki. Have you done Bird Up yet? Yeah, I did Bird Up. If you're talking about this guy, yeah, I did Bird Up. That's Bird Up. Pyre Ragna Kadaki is not as fun of a fight as regular Ragna Kadaki, but regular Ragna Kadaki is not that fun either. It's just an exploding version of regular Ragna Kadaki. Kurapeko is a B tier monster. I really like Kurapeko, and it has a very unique mechanic of calling other monsters to help fight for it. Also, it can buff itself, so it's actually the embodiment of a hunting horn. Kurapeko is the embodiment of hunting horn, and that's very cool. Radobon is D tier because it's basically Uragaan but weaker. It's nothing really special about it. You just hit the bones and make the bones go away, and then you just hit its body. Raging Brachydios, I'm gonna put in B tier. Raging Brachydios is kind of rough. It's like a giant Brachydios that has Permaslime. I fought Raging Brachydios in Generations Ultimate, and it wasn't awful. I fought it in World, it was very hard. But it had very good armor. Rajang. Rajang is A tier. Because Rajang has been in the game for a long time, and everyone loves him because he's the Super Saiyan monkey. Rajang is legitimately the Super Saiyan monkey. he gets angry, he turns gold. Regular Ragnarokudaki goes to C tier because it's a spider monster. It has fire. It has 2 phases where it's shrouded in webs, and then you knock the webs out, then you hit its butt. Very pretty armor, though. It has very pretty armor. Rathalos. D tier. Rathalos is basically the Pikachu of Monster Hunter. He flies too much. The Rathalos armor is normally very good for people. Like, I would be surprised if the Rathalos armor was bad in Wilds. But most of the time, it'll have, like, attack up, which is good. So most people are probably going to run Rathalos armor at one point. I'm putting Rathian above Rathalos. And the reason why is because while Rathian is a very easy monster to fight, it is also the best monster to learn new weapons on. He's the best monster to learn new weapons on because it's an easy monster, but it's not too easy. Like, you can learn the moves of Rathian and do very well against Rathian, and then once you do that, you can teach yourself other weapons with what you know. So in my opinion, Rathian is actually one of the best teaching monsters. Red Helm Arzuros. I haven't fought him, but it's basically the same as Apex Arzuros. Red Kezu goes into Kezu tier because it's a Kezu and fuck Kezu. It's weird. They don't have Risen Shigaru on. Oh no, they do have Risen Shigaru. I'm gonna make a tier here for this. It's gonna be above F, but it's gonna be below D, called Risen tier. The Risen Elder Dragons, I'm kind of whatever about. They aren't really amazing to me. It's more annoying than anything. Basically, Risen is they're like afflicted, but they have overcome the affliction because they're Elder Dragons. And then they get like slightly mutated, and it's just, I don't know, it's very whatever to me. Royal Ludroth is a C tier monster because it's actually kind of it's similar to Rathian. Royal Ludroth is similar to Rathian. You can really like learn how to play a weapon by fighting Royal Ludroth. Ruby Bizarrios, I haven't fought, but I'm gonna put it in F tier because I don't like Bizarrios anyway. Ruiner Nergigante goes to B. And that's because it is a downgrade from regular Nergigante. Basically, what they did for Ruiner Nergigante is they gave him an extra set of spikes, and all of his attacks have a giant hitbox, and it's really not that fun. Rust Duramboros, I have not fought Rust Duramboros, so I don't know. Rusted Kushala, I have not fought Rusted Kushala, so I don't know. I have not fought Rustrazor Siennatar, so I don't know. Safi'jiiva is A tier. Safi'jiiva is the second siege monster they put into Monster Hunter World, and it's actually very fun. The only reason it's A tier and not S tier, like it would be for other people, is that I did so much Safi'jiiva that it burnt me out real bad. That, and I hate the fact that I had to use I hate that I had to use Aqua Shot on Safi all the time. I didn't like that. Sand Barioth is just a Barioth, but with sand. It's really not much different. Savage Deviljho is A tier. The reason for this is because in the world version of Savage Deviljho, you are rewarded for being aggressive. Savage Deviljho is a very aggressive monster, but if you hit him at the right times, he'll fall over. So it's one of the more rewarding monsters that rewards aggression. So I really like that about it. Scarred Yangaruga. I'm putting Scarred Yangaruga at A. Scarred Yangaruga was in Monster Hunter World, and it's basically tempered Yangaruga. I like Scarred Yangaruga because it is more intense than regular Yangaruga. It's basically like a battle-hardened Yangaruga, and it has new moves. It's pretty cool. Let's see, which one is this? What's the name? What is it? What is this? Isn't there... Oh, come on, where is it? Scorned Magnamalo. Okay. Oh no, you took my shit! Why? Why are you taking my stuff? So, Scorned Magnamalo, I'm gonna put in B tier because it is super stressful to fight. Scorned Magnamalo is very, very stressful to fight. There is actually a very funny thing with Scorned Magnamalo. Scorned Magnamalo has lost part of its horn, and the lore behind a Magnamalo losing part of its horn is that it becomes so unattractive to other... Yeah. Okay. So Scorned Magnamalo lost part of its horn, and because it lost part of its horn, it is considered unattractive to other Magnamalo. So the other name that people give to Scorned Magnamalo is Incel Magnamalo, because it's so angry that it can't have sex. Why don't you like that redeem? It's a bunch of random, like, funny clips that I think are funny. Just because they make me laugh sometimes. Seething Basil is A tier because they did a really good spin on Seething Basil. They were like, what if Seething Basil but bigger explosions? And it's really cool, and it has a very cool signature attack. Celtis is D tier, and Queen Celtis is C tier. Or Celtis Queen is C tier. Celtis Queen is just... I mean, it's a cool symbiotic fight between Celtis Queen because it utilizes regular Celtis and they do stuff. But it's not as interesting as Desert Celtis Queen. Seregios. Seregios is A tier. Seregios is a monster that utilizes bleed, but is also very much like a hawk. It's like you're fighting a hawk. And the Seregios weapons in 4U and in Generations have this unique attribute. And the unique attribute they have is when you roll, it sharpens. So they're very good for keeping sharpness up. A hawk, you say? Yes, I say a hawk. Shigaru Magala S tier. Shigaru Magala is an epic fight. It is very fun. Shigaru Magala is like the next big monster we're gonna try to fight. in for you. I really like Shigaro Magala. It is a very fun fight. Really great theme too. Shah Dalamadur, I have not fought Shah Dalamadur. Shara Isvalda is C tier to me. Shara Isvalda has 3 phases. A phase where it's basically a rock. A phase where it sheds its rock stuff. And then a phase where it opens its eyes. And the reason it's C and not D is because in the phase where it opens its eyes, it has this unique attribute where the eyes actually follow the camera and not the hunter. So it makes this really eerie effect of like it's staring into your soul. Okay. Shen Gaoren. I'm putting Shen Gaoren at C. Shen Gaoren is kind of like Lao Shen Lung. However, it is much more interesting than Shen Lung. Lao Shen Lung, you just attack a monster that is walking. Shen Gaoren, you have to like attack specific areas to make it fall down, and then you attack it normally. So there's actually some thought when you're fighting Shen Gaoren. Shogun Sienitar. I like Sienitar. It has a very good armor set. I'm gonna put it in B. It's fun to fight. It's very quick. Shrieking Legiana is D tier because I really dislike how it's just a more ice version of Legiana, and all it does is it calls friends to help. It's very annoying to fight. It's not fun. I have not fought Shrouded Nerscylla. Silver Rathalos I'm going to put in B tier because it's kind of like a regular Rathalos, but then it gets like super mode. But it's not as cool as fighting Goldrathian in my opinion. Silverwind Nargacuga. I have not fought Silverwind. I'm kind of whatever about it. Wait, what's this deviant? I don't know what this deviant is. Snow Baron Lagambi. I have not fought Snow Baron Lagambi. Somnicanth is B tier because it actually is kind of interesting. Somnicanth can put you to sleep and it uses water element. But it actually has this very cool, like, sort of siren song thing that it does. It's a neat monster. It's better than Aurora Somnicanth. Aurora Somnicanth is stupid. Regular Somnicanth is actually pretty cool. Soul Seer, I haven't fought it, but I fought Apex. Steel Uragan. I fought it once and I never want to fight it again. Actually, I think that kind of puts it in F tier. I never want to fight Steel Uragan again. It's like, what if Uragan had the same properties as Bazarios and was just very hard and you could never hurt it? Hammer Fist, Hermitar, I have not fought. Stygian Zinogre, A tier. Actually, I'm putting Stygian Zinogre S tier. It's weird because depending on which game you're playing, Stygian Zinogre is actually kind of hard to fight. But my favorite version of Stygian Zinogre is Monster Hunter World. It's actually a super fun fight in World, so I like it a lot. Teostra, solid B tier. Elder Dragon that's been in the game for a very long time. Emperor Flame. Big supernova attack. Pretty fun. I enjoy it for the most part. I fought a lot of them in World. This is a I don't remember what this is a kind of Sienitar that was in one game but never came back. I don't remember what it is though. Tetranodon, that's a monster that came in Rise, I actually really like it. It's kind of its motif is a kappa, but it also is like a sumo wrestler frog monster or sumo wrestler platypus monster. It's actually very cool. I like it a lot. It's actually very fun to fight. Tetsukabra, solid C. Fun little rock frog monster. Thunderlord Zinogre. Technically haven't fought Thunderlord, but I fought Apex Zinogre. That's basically the same thing. Thunder Serpent Narwa is D tier because it's very boring to fight, in my opinion. Title Najarella I have not fought. Tiger Stripe Zamtrios I have not fought yet. Tigrix is B tier. Iconic Monster was the flagship monster for Freedom. Fighting Tigrix in Freedom Unite was scary because if it enraged, you kind of just felt like you could never fight him. It was pretty terrible in that regard. But it also made him pretty iconic. Tobi Kadachi, B tier. I actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna do this. I'm putting Tobi Kadachi in A tier. I really like Tobi Kadachi. The electric squirrel monster is very cool. Excuse me. I think it had a very cool armor set. And just a very cool move set in general. Titsyaku is C tier. I call it the Photoraptor because it flashes you and it looks like a Velociraptor, so I just call it Photoraptor all the time. Ukanlos, I'm gonna put as a solid B tier. Ukanlos is actually pretty cool. Where a Cantor seems a lot more like a or a Cantor seems a lot more like just a different version of Tigrix. Ukanlos is actually decently original. It does this thing where it like digs into the snow and then it chases you. So that's actually kind of cool. Urgon, C tier. Urgon is a monster that's been around for a while since Try. It rolls around and throws bombs out, and it's a little annoying to fight because it's very hard. Vol Hazak, A tier. Vol Hazak is A tier. Its fight is kind of boring when you're skilled. Like if you're a skilled fighter, Vol Hazak is not very hard to fight. But its actual design is super cool. It's a zombie dragon. It's very neat. Velkhana, S tier. I love Velkhana. Velkhana is this very elegant monster, and Arch-Tempered Velkhana was very cool to fight. I thought about putting in an A because I didn't like the Rise version of Velkhana. Like World Iceborne Velkhana was really cool. Well, but I'm gonna put it in an S just because I really like the World version. Velocidrome, C tier. It's just a raptor. It's just a Velociraptor. There's literally nothing else about it. It is the most basic monster. I have not fought Vespoid Queen. Before we finish up here, I gotta use the restroom, so I will be right back. I am here. Also, congratulations on catching a tiger shark. Was it Shigar Magala? No, this is Valstrax. Okay. Good job. So Violet Mizuzune was introduced in Monster Hunter Rise. And it's this weird kind of blast, fiery version of Mizu. I did not really like it. Was very annoying to fight. A lot of people thought it was cool, but I thought it was not very fun. Viper Toby is a C tier monster only because I really struggled with it. Viper Toby was tough because it did poison and paralysis as opposed to just electric like regular Toby. And it was very tough. Volvidon I'm putting in C. It's basically the anteater monster. Pretty good armor set in Tri. In other games, it's not super great armor set. But it's kind of just a regular like mid-tier monster. White Fatalis, A tier. In fact, no, I'm putting White Fatalis as S tier. So I fought White Fatalis in Generations Ultimate, and I fought White Fatalis when somebody made a mod for it in Monster Hunter World. The mod version that is in Monster Hunter World is incredible. And like, essentially, White Fatalis is a very old Fatalis that has lived a very long time, and it more or less replaces its fire element with lightning, and it has red lightning. It's super cool. Also, it has this weird thing where it can travel between dimensions for some reason. White Monoblos. I have not fought White Monoblos. Ibushi, I'm gonna put in C tier. It's kind of cool, but you really don't fight it all that much. You really don't fight Ibushi all that much. Xeno'jiiva. I'm putting Xeno'jiiva in A. Xeno'jiiva is the baby version of Safi'jiiva. And it's a very pretty monster. The regular version of it's very easy. Oh, excuse me. The Arch-Tempered is actually a very fun fight. I have not fought Yamasukami. Actually, no, I technically have. But it wasn't like the real Yamasukami. I fought some weird variation of Yamasukami in Frontier once. It was kind of whatever. Why is there... Oh, there's two Yangaruga. Okay. Regular Yangaruga, I'm going to put into B tier. It's a fun monster to fight. It actually was super fun to fight in World. It's very annoying to fight in older games because it has Insta-Charge. And its Insta-Charge is very frustrating to deal with. Regular Kutku. I guess I'll put regular Kutku in C because it's literally one of the first monsters you ever fight in all of Monster Hunter. Yeah. I'm putting Zamdrios in A tier because it's a very unique monster. It's an ice shark, and it has two phases. One where it gives itself ice armor, and another where it bloats itself up. I think Zamdrios is a very cool monster. I kind of wish that he was in newer games. Zinogre. Hot take, Zinogre, I'm only putting in A tier. I have fought a lot of Zinogre. I have fought Zinogre in Portable Third. I have fought Zinogre in 3 Ultimate. I have fought Zinogre in 4 Ultimate. I have fought Zinogre in Generations Ultimate. And I have fought Zinogre in World. And I have fought Zinogre in Rise. I have fought Zinogre in every single game Zinogre's been in. Every single game Zinogre has been in, I have fought him in every single one of them. He is objectively the best monster in his flagship game, Portable Third. He is very fun to fight in Portable Third. In World, he's a little bit neutered because they did not give him his regular roar. They just replaced it with like a stock wolf roar for some reason. It was very dumb. He was more fun to fight in Rise than in World. But in my opinion, the best time to fight him was in Portable Third. Zora Magdaros. Zora Magdaros is D tier, and he's D tier because you don't really fight him like other monsters. It's kind of you go and like hit parts on his body, and you're literally fighting a mountain. That's literally it. Risen Shigaru Magala, I'm gonna put in A tier because it's not as good as regular Shigaru Magala, but it is a very fun fight. I really like Risen Shigaru Magala. Primordial Malzeno is also A tier. This is actually the last one. Primordial Malzeno is A tier because Primordial Malzeno is where Malzeno was a motif for a vampire. Primordial Malzeno is like a paladin or a knight motif. It's like a purified version of Malzeno, and it's very cool because it uses its body like different weapons, and it uses its wings like a shield. It's very cool. Very fun monster to fight, in my opinion. And this is just a repeat of Yangaruga, so we're not gonna put that in there. But yeah, we did it. It's done. 2.5 hours, 232 monsters. 232 monsters judged and given a tier ranking. Yay! And now, what's my favorite? What's my favorite? I'll say this. This is what I'm going to say about what's my favorite. My favorite is any of the ones in S tier, depending on how I'm feeling. Because sometimes I'll be like, Astalos is my favorite. Sometimes Ebony Odogaron is my favorite. Sometimes Glavenus is my favorite. Sometimes Alto-Ka is my favorite. Sometimes Elatrion is my favorite. Like, anything that is in S tier is my favorite. I can't just choose one, unfortunately, because my mood changes. You know? If I had to say which one out of S tier is objectively the best, it is Elatrion. And that's because Elatrion is the best fight that Capcom has ever designed. World Elatrion is the best fight Capcom has ever designed. Some people would say Alto-Ka, but I think Alto-Ka is a lot more of a spectacle. Elatrion is the perfect combination of a spectacle, very tight hitboxes, very, very good. Very, very good, like, positive feedback for playing well against it. And you always feel epic when you're fighting it. Like, I don't know what they were smoking, but it was the good shit when they made Elatrion. So, like, objectively, Elatrion is the best on there. In my opinion. Okay, it's subjectively objective. It's weird to say that. There's so many good things about Elatrion.